Good afternoon. My name is Ryan Williamson, and I'm an international sales representative for Collins. Today, I'll be presenting to you the Collins International Primary English as a Second Language course, which is endorsed by Cambridge International for the Cambridge Primary Syllabus. This course is written to specifically support learners who are not native English speakers, and who may need extra support with English. The curriculum framework for Cambridge Primary ESL covers the 6 stages of primary, and our course is designed to meet the requirements of that curriculum. There are 5 strands which make up the curriculum focus: reading, writing, use of English, listening, and speaking. The pedagogic approach within the primary ESL curriculum framework is that the teacher's use of structured talk is the key facilitating factor to support learning. This means that all learning in the classroom will be characterised by high-quality interaction, with the teacher aiming to encourage the learners to actively use English to complete all tasks. The focus within the classroom is on an activity-based approach, which will support a slightly faster development of the speaking, listening, and use of English strands across the curriculum. This information from the syllabus underpins our course, the approach, and how it is structured. The table in this slideshow highlights what levels within the Common European Framework of Reference that learners can be expected to attain at each stage of the primary curriculum. The table shows that students should be able to reach low B1 level for listening, speaking, and the use of English strands by the end of stage 6, and a high A2 level in the reading and writing strands. The assessment framework from the curriculum provides teachers and learners with end-of-stage goals and can be used to help teachers monitor progress. The assessments at key transition points across the curriculum relate to the Cambridge English Language Assessment, and so for learners who may be preparing for these assessments, our course comprehensively supports students to achieve those goals. Should your students be preparing for these exams, Collins also publish a range of practice tests that will support learners in preparing for the different assessment stages. For more information about this, please visit the Collins website or contact us on collins.international@harpercollins.co.uk. The Collins International Primary English as a Second Language course contains high-quality and culturally appropriate resources to engage learners and stimulate discussion, supporting students to bring their own ideas to their learning. This aims to promote and develop thinking skills, which are not just useful for language learning, but also across all other subjects. The course contains a good ratio of both fiction and non-fiction texts to help achieve universal appeal. There is lots of phonics work in the lower stages and an audio component to support the development of listening skills and pronunciation. Clear differentiation tasks are available to help teachers with lower and higher ability students, and clear guidance on how to use these activities is offered within our teacher guide. The course contains lots of homework tasks and also has ideas for ongoing informal assessment and a test for formal end-of-year assessment. Our course consists of 3 components: the student book, the workbook, and the teacher's guide, which we will look at and cover in some more detail throughout this presentation. Our author and editorial team contains a range of international experience, and all authors have taught at this level and in international contexts. Now we are going to look at an overview of the course itself. It is broken down into 9 topics per stage, which equates to approximately 3 to 4 weeks when allocated per topic. This is an average of around 9 or 10 lessons per topic. This offers teachers an example of how they could divide up the content. Teachers can take 30 weeks, or the course can easily be stretched so it can fit a longer programme. So it is very adaptable to suit different learning contexts. The flexibility of the Collins programme allows teachers the option to vary the pace and the amount of work covered each week to suit their circumstances. The student's book is the main springboard into the language and the topic. It offers 64 colourful and attractive pages, and this is where the main language input takes place. Input is based around 9 topics per stage, and these include topics such as school, transport, home, friends, and animals. There are between 3 and 6 input pages per topic, and the type of input is varied. Apart from introducing vocabulary and the language structures being taught, the goal of the input text is to act as a stimulus for classroom discussion, engaging learners and leading to the development of deeper and higher order thinking skills. The aim is for all learners to contribute to the class discussion about the topic based on their own experience and bringing their own prior knowledge. This isn't dependent on their competency in English. They can even contribute in their mother tongue if they need to. The most important thing is for the students to be engaged and motivated. Input texts are carefully selected and designed in order to be culturally appropriate, and we have tried to be universal in terms of interest, so that as many children as possible will enjoy reading the student book. Many of the texts have cross-curricular relevance, so that other school subjects are also supported. We will look at some sample page in the next few slides, and one of the first things to notice will be the magazine style design, which is a really strong visual impact and is a key feature of the course. The purpose of this is to activate learners' interest and imagination, and to excite them. We want learners to feel like they're not really working from a traditional textbook when they look at the student book. There are some good and sound pedagogical reasons for this, one of which relates to the concept of flow, meaning that when a person is fully engaged in something they are enjoying, they forget they are learning, and that is when the deepest learning in fact takes place. In order to be able to deliver that kind of design, we decided to keep rubrics to a minimum across the student book pages. There is only a simple get started rubric to stimulate discussion and kickstart the topic. A let's think bubble is also included on the pages, and the purpose of this is to encourage learners to engage with the materials and to begin to use higher order thinking skills no matter how fluent they may be in English. You will see from the sample pages what we have spoken about in terms of the stimulus text. The example we looked at from stage 1 highlights the strong cross-curricular element which supports learning in other subject areas. We have reused some texts from the Collins guided reading scheme Collins Big Cat, where the readers match up with the language objectives in the syllabus. In addition, there is also, of course, some new and original content. Here is an example of some of the fiction pages. We have included a range of themes to appeal to both boys and girls, and different interests in order to achieve the universal appeal that we spoke about already. In summary, variety is key within the student book. Every page has a different feel to it, in order to keep things fresh and to appeal to learners so that they are engaged. We offer free downloadable audio for every reading text within the student book. Teachers can therefore use the audio in class, and students may also utilise it to pre-listen or to re-listen to the stories at home. I'll now move on to talking about the workbook. The workbook is clearly linked to the student book pages. The activities can be used as classroom tasks, for homework, or for assessment purposes. The workbook contains all the supporting practice activities for language and for skills development. The completed workbook tasks give the teacher an opportunity to check work and give written feedback and/or grades. The learners have a consolidated record of their work, and parents can see what kind of activities the learners are doing in class. Activities and tasks are graded for different levels of challenge, but I would emphasise that the differentiation of tasks is not shown on the workbook page. That can be found within the teacher's guide, which we'll mention a little bit later on. Having reviewed both the student book and workbook, I would briefly like to touch upon the Collins Big Cat graded readers that contribute to some of the input within the student book. Collins offers a wide range of fiction and non-fiction graded readers which can be used for guided or independent reading. If you would like to find out more about Collins Big Cat, you can view our catalogue online at www.collins.co.uk/bigcat, or to speak with your local sales representative, you can find them using the Find My Rep tool on the website. We will now look towards the Teacher's Guide, a key element of the course. The Teacher's Guide provides a comprehensive introduction, advising teachers how to use the course and explaining the principle and approach that underpins it. We also offer detailed unit-by-unit lesson notes with all the support for how to teach the content of both the student book and the workbook. The Teacher's Guide also contains an audio script for each reading text, plus the listening activities which focus on development of listening skills. There are also over 35 photocopiable masters at the back of the book, with even more worksheets available to ensure that early finishers can be kept active, or that those learners who are struggling can have extra practice if needed. There is also a complete end-of-year test with tasks which are similar to the ones found in the Starters Movers flyers. And finally, you will also find the workbook answer key in the Teacher's Guide as well. So if we look at the teacher's guide in some further detail, Collins is well known for having supportive and extensive teacher's guide, and it's impossible to have a rubric-free, magazine-style student book without having a thorough and comprehensive teacher's guide setting out in detail just how to use it. This is what makes the teacher's guide such a key element of the course for teachers who wish to deliver the content in the way it was designed and be sure that they are delivering the Cambridge curriculum specifications. Each of the topic notes begin with an overview of the unit detailing what will be covered, a full list of learning objectives covered with the main focus objectives underlined for planning purposes, a complete and detailed grammar summary to support teachers. It will also list all the resources required as well as suggestions for how to introduce the unit to the class. You will also find notes on what previous knowledge it assumes and possible areas of difficulty that learners may encounter. I've included here in this slide a sample lesson plan from the teacher's guide to demonstrate what we have just covered. So moving on, each of the units within the teacher's guide will follow the same structure. You will have structured and detailed lesson notes with ideas for introducing vocabulary and language structures to the whole class. Lesson suggestions are very varied, but in every lesson, learners will work together as a class to start with, then either individually or in pairs or perhaps small groups, and then back together at the end. The lesson notes include an extensive differentiated activity bank for each unit, with activities that are marked triangle, circle, and square to denote the different levels of challenge. The triangle, circle, and square symbols indicate what learners at varying levels might be expected to manage. The triangle indicates what can be expected of almost all learners in the class. The circle indicates what might be expected of most learners with some support, and the square indicates what level of achievement might be expected from more able and confident learners. The teacher can select from the activities in the activity bank to suit the level of English among the learners in the class and to meet the needs of particular groups or individuals, or for specific classroom contexts. The suggested activities in the activity bank relate to and use the student book, enabling learners to consolidate and apply what they have learned. Each unit will also contain suggestions for a plenary wrap-up session at the end of the unit and ideas for informal assessment activities. So whilst the content has been designed to be flexible to meet the needs of schools who may have a different number of timetabled hours of English each week, for example, and with a wide mix of English levels within one classroom, we are able to provide one route through the materials. Our scheme of work is based on 3 12-week terms, with each topic being covered in 4 weeks. Each unit should, therefore, be covered in 2 weeks based on the provision of 5 to 6 hours of classroom English per week. Typically, there are 3 topics to cover within each term, with 1 formal assessment at the end. This is an introductory table at the beginning. There is an introductory table at the beginning of each scheme of work, which provides an overview of the topics covered over a whole year, divided into 3 terms. Schemes of work are available for each stage as a Word document, which can be adapted to suit the needs of your own class and your timetabled hours. The scheme of work provides less experienced teachers with a clear structure to seamlessly navigate the course. Learning outcomes are clearly listed on the left-hand column, which you can see, with references taken directly from the Cambridge framework, ensuring that the learning outcomes are being met. Focus structures and teaching activities are clearly also listed to ensure careful and considered progression throughout the course. Resource lists specific to the learning objectives are clearly marked to ensure course materials are used effectively. So we're now moving on to looking at the assessment within the course. The Cambridge Primary English as a Second Language curriculum framework makes it clear what the learners are expected to learn and achieve at each level. The task for teachers is to assess whether or not the learners have achieved the stated goals, using clearly focused, varied, reliable, and flexible methods of assessment. In our course, assessment is continuous and inbuilt. It is regular and ongoing, supporting individual achievement and allowing for regular feedback and encouragement to students. It allows for integration of assessment into classroom teaching and aims to use strategies that cater for a variety of learning needs in the classroom, acknowledging that the learners do not all need to be assessed at the same time or necessarily in the same way. In terms of formal written assessment, the Collins Primary English as a Second Language course offers a set of assessment sheets that teachers can use to formally assess learning and to award marks if necessary. At Stage 1, an assessment page is included in the workbook for each topic. In addition, the teacher's guide contains an end-of-year test that can be copied or used as is, or used as a model for perhaps creating your own tests. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, the end-of-year test is modelled on activities used at the starters level of the Cambridge English Young Learners of English tests. In addition to the materials supplied in the course, schools may opt for their learners to take the standardised Cambridge International Progression Test at stages 3, 4, 5 and 6. In summary, the Collins International Primary English as a Second Language course meets the requirements of the Cambridge Primary ESL curriculum and is endorsed for full syllabus coverage. Our student book takes a modern, engaging design with a range of input texts that are both culturally appropriate and universally appealing. The extensive workbook links clearly into the student book and gives the teachers an opportunity to check work and offer a consolidated record of their learners' work. The extensive teacher's guide comprehensively supports teachers at each level of the course, and the scheme of work is also available for those who may require it. Despite this, the course can be easily adapted. Finally, the course offers opportunities throughout for both informal and formal assessment. I hope you have enjoyed today's overview of the Collins International Primary English as a Second Language course. If you have any questions or you would like to speak with your local sales representative for more information about purchasing the scheme, please visit the Collins website where you can search for your local sales representative who will be happy to help. Thank you very much.